them blurry photos.
It sure do. It sure do.
Oh, it tastes like you stuck your foot in it.
What's going on, y'all? It's Blurry Photos. I'm David Flora.
I'm Dave Stecco.
So, I hope everybody's doing well there.
Yeah.
We got a pretty dense episode coming up here for you.
Lock it down, strap it in, buckle it up, and turn it on.
That's right.
No, don't turn it on, especially after you've done everything you can to restrain it. That's just cruel.
So I'm gonna throw it to you to set it up.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna start our explanation with a question. How you guys doing?
Oh,
you feel good?
Feeling all right there?
Do you feel confident? Maybe you partook recently in our representational government elections.
If you're here in the U.S.
Yeah. And
if you're not, hey, thanks for listening overseas.
Yeah, awesome. And I'll bet you have something you do that helps you participate. And you know what? You probably feel pretty good about that. That,
mm-hmm.
you know who your leadership is, and they're working in your best interest.
Yeah, you trust them.
Yeah.
They look like humans.
Yeah. Oh, quick fact, all of that is wrong and false.
Bum, bum, bum.
You are puppets at the hands of a non-human shadow world government that is guiding everything and everyone to their own dark ends.
And we'll give you one guess as to who or what they are.
Hippopotamus people!
Wrong.
Oh.
They're reptiles. Reptilian races.
I had one guess and I blew it.
The good thing is I was putting the listener on the spot, not you. So.
Oh, thank God.
So
can you just re-edit that so that I say reptilians and sound smart?
No. So that's right. The the whole of humanity evidently is having their strings pulled by the cruel puppet master overlords that are reptilian humanoids.
Subterranean overlords.
Oh, over and under.
Yeah, exactly. They got you no matter where you go.
So we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of reptiles and maybe even the serpent worship throughout the ages.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to, climb into the old conspiracy bouncy castle and throw around some.
And we're going to engage in some moderate horseplay. Because this is one of those magnificent grab bags where everyone reaches in and pulls out something meaningful to their own view of the world.
Yep. And
from back in Bible days when we fought dinosaurs in hand-to-hand combat for their caves
600 years ago.
600 years ago, we've got to have some sort of genetic racial bias against reptiles, against snakes, lizards, everything, because this whole idea, this entire concept of the reptilian overlord race, it just catches wildfire wherever it touches down, and it doesn't always make a heck of a lot of sense the way it's presented, but it has a serious history. It has a lot of maybe yes, maybe no, maybe corroborating evidence.
Yeah, it's got that nice little sheen to it where you can't prove it, yet you can't disprove it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives it a little shielding, a little armor.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating, and it kind of runs the gamut, because depending on how deep you want to dig into it, it's either, just like you mentioned, an ancient form of worship, to an absolute minefield of mental instability and crazy times and paranoia.
That's right, from seemingly sane people.
Right.
So let's go on and jump in this puppy here.
Jump in the puppy.
Let's jump in this puppy. Let's kick this mule. Let's burn this monkey. Reptilians are a proposed race of intelligent or highly developed reptile-like humanoids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Typically, they're about 6 to 8 feet tall. They can be scaly green or maybe have gold scaly skin. They have a bad odor. They have large gold eyes with vertical pupils, much like you'd see on a crocodile.
A forked tongue.
There are apparently different species of them, just like there are different, I guess, races of humans. But you get some with tails, large, massive, muscular tails. You get some that just look like humans, only they have this sort of lizard-like head and the eyes. You get some that have wings that fold on their backs, and they could go around pretending to be Mothmans.
Oh, no, they're sandhill cranes.
They could pretend to be sandhill cranes.
Oh, God.
Pretending to be Mothmen. They also could be shapeshifters, which allows them to walk amongst us freely and without being noticed. Also, could be from the fourth dimension, which means we, as human beings, in our visible spectrum, cannot see them because they're on kind of a different frequency.
Now,
not too much? Too much?
Just keep going.
Keep going?
We're gonna circle back to that. I don't want to get bogged down in the fourth dimension this early in the podcast.
So they can also go by the moniker Reptoids, Draconians.
Oids. Oh, I like that. Graboids. Thank you, Tremors.
Saurians, Sauroids.
Oids!
They need a name. And lizard folk.
What? Do they make really good iced tea in the summer?
And they all gather around on moonlit nights and play violin. And
they farm sweet melon down in Crickleback Creek.
The biggest conspiracy theory that we have about them, we mentioned, they control the world and want to enslave the human race.
The biggest conspiracy theory is that they're responsible for everything. That is the largest conspiracy
That's
theory.
the largest one. We'll start there, and then we'll whittle down.
To them simply being shareholders in Subway. It's still a very large franchise of sandwich shops.
Great. Did you want to circle back now, or do you want to go through history?
I think we should do this. Let's do this historically. Let's build. I like to start with a slow simmer and bring it up to a frothy boil.
Oh boy, that's how I rolls.
Frothy.
So you can find reptile, serpent, dragon worship in many mythologies. Almost every culture throughout history has some prevalent serpent or dragon or reptile in their mythology. And they are both hostile or wise, depending on which mythology you're looking at the time.
And you even get some fun blendings of that. Their wisdom leads to horrible, like the classic, we weren't ready for what they taught us,
How to cook humans?
Yeah, no, like literally, you get the Aztecs. Is it Tenochtitlan? Is that the name?
Tenochtitlan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah.
We both said it.
And
But this knowledge bringer that also, with your knowledge, it'll be heavily sprinkled with obliteration
and human sacrifice.
Yeah.
This book has more space dust on it. How to cook for humans. Classic. So, let's start in Mesopotamia.
Just a whole Mesopotamia.
In ancient Sumer, there are clay tablets that tell the story of the chief deity, who was called An, and his sons, Enki and Enlil, who were portrayed as reptilian in appearance via these stories on the tablets and stuff in cuneiform. Although some of them have them looking kind of bird-like as well, maybe with bird heads, or most all of them have wings, but then again, that could be because they had the power of flight as gods. The old pictograms tell more than 1,000 words.
I mean, let's interject some completely unnecessary and unwanted evolutionary science into that. The link between birds and reptiles is right there.
Yeah.
There's no reason that it can't be both.
True. That's very true. There are statues and carvings that are discovered in what is now Iraq, and there are some statues that show a humanoid female figure with a serpent head that is breastfeeding a baby. And you can Google this, you of the computer generation,
Use your damned idiot boxes and look it up.
Turn your brain to mush.
Yeah, just Google a picture of a female serpent statue or Iraq serpent female. Use a combination of them.
Try Middle East breastfeeding lizard. That ought to do it.
There you go.
Now you're on a watch list. You're welcome.
So that one in particular is pretty interesting because it shows, it shows pretty clearly this is a humanoid reptile. Why would they just, carve unless they just hated the woman they were carving?
Oh my God, she's such a bitch. I'm gonna get her.
I'm
gonna fix her wagon so hard. Hand me that chisel. It's gonna take 10 years. She's gonna feel like such an ass when I'm done.
This thing's never gonna get worn down. That'll show this haint.
She's a haint.
Also, this I should mention this. We're touching on the Annunaki here. The Annunaki were translated from the cuneiform, those who from heaven came to earth, and they are worthy of their own podcast. Which
Right,
I'm sure
I think we've touched on them before. I think Hollow Earth got a little Anunnaki in there. Absolutely, that is a phrase that you will hear again because they are absolutely worthy of their entire own dedicated hour.
Yeah, the Anunnaki are kind of the basis for the ancient alien conspiracy. They created mankind to mine gold for them, and then all hell broke loose.
But not just any gold, monoatomic gold. Because the reptilians, they also need the monoatomic gold. There's a nice tie in there.
Who doesn't? If you know what's good for you.
Yeah. And we'll come back to that. Gosh, it's so hard not to just race to the crazy.
That's right. This is why this episode is so dense, because you step in one puddle and all of a sudden you're in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. You put your dick in one bucket, then it's no longer a bucket, and it's not even a dick anymore. I don't know. You could. Yeah,
I blame only myself.
Yeah, I'm putting the beeps back in that phrase.
You sure are.
You drop a pencil in a bucket, and no, thank you.
So one of the sons, Icke, supposedly gave humanity the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and warned someone not unlike Noah about a major flood that was going to wipe out humanity.
What?
I know. That's also a future podcast thing, where things from the Bible may have originated.
Flood legend.
Floods are in every culture as well. Just like if you got a serpent in a culture, you got a flood myth.
Yep.
Man, we're begetting podcasts.
Oh man.
Reptilian beget Anunnaki. Anunnaki beget flood myth.
Anyways, speaking of El Bible, Genesis chapter 3.
Oh, dude, quote it. Quote some scriptures.
Speaks of the serpent being more crafty than other wild animals and convincing Eve to eat of the tree of knowledge, right? And then in Genesis chapter 3, God curses it to crawl on its belly and eat dust all the days of its life. Now, the way it's set up in there, it doesn't specifically say that the serpent is walking upright, but it doesn't say it's not either.
Right. I mean, one would assume if it was already crawling on its belly, that is
why would you?
Fairly weak curse on God's part.
Right.
In the same way, God has cursed me to enjoy cereal and beer for the rest of your days.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. How can I go on?
So, yeah, I think one could infer that the serpent was not a snake to begin with, and then was made snake-like.
Yeah.
Let's interpret the Bible.
Oh, gosh. Here's another interesting note. It's not called Satan in Genesis. The serpent is not the devil.
No.
It's not until, I think, Revelation, which is, getting it in right under the wire in terms of Bible.
Right.
In terms of the Bible, that it's akin to Satan.
And one could even say, just from a storytelling perspective, that's just the last chapter callback, wrap it all up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even the New Testament versus the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So, let's just say it's serpents.
Serpents. Also, what about the books that aren't in the canonical Bible there?
Oh, man. That's where Jesus fights a dragon. No, he does. One of the books, Jesus fights a dragon, in one of the non-disincluded books, has an account of Jesus fighting a dragon.
What does he do?
He fights a dragon. I don't speak Aramaic, so I just
maybe it's in the book of Jasher or the book of the Just Man, because they talk about fighting a serpent-like race in there.
What?
Yeah, not a well-known book that it's not in the Bible. It was left out.
Yeah, mistakenly. Do you have any idea how many more kids would be in Sunday school if there was... Today we're talking about when Jesus fought the hordes of lizard men.
Also, the Book of Enoch, which is chock full of a lot of great stuff, but it mentions some serpents in there. And,
yeah.
Maybe a race of serpents, too. But then you get to, as we mentioned, the Book of Revelation, and then it just... It breaks loose. Like, it's the great dragon, the ancient serpent, the fiery red serpent,
the many-headed beast.
7 heads. So Revelation is just like, wait a minute, did we say serpent? We missed serpent in Job? There's no serpent in Hosea?
Check Deuteronomy, quick!
Oh no! How did you idiots leave this out?
It's cool, we can fix this. It's not over yet.
Did you even get anything in 2 Corinthians?
You had 2 chances at it.
2 chances. Nothing in Romans? It's all about serpents and dragons.
Dave's Bible joke spectacular. Books of the Bible, go. Sorry. Mostly that was to David's mom.
So let's go to let's take a little trip here. Let's take a little trip around the world. Let's go to China. Huang Di, the first emperor of China, was said to have descended to Earth in the belly of a dragon. And the first 4 Chinese rulers are often called the Dragon Kings. They were reptilian in appearance and had the ability to shapeshift. And then later it was said that in that region of Asia, they had a lot of underwater realms where dragons and dragon kings lived.
Well, there is still a lot of that heritage in Chinese culture. They say, like the Dragon Wells, the Dragon Wells region, where they still make some of the finest swords in China. And it's said that the bubbling water of the wells where they quench the steel is actually the breath of the dragons that rest there.
Wow.
It's a fun little legend.
That's neat. Japanese are no strangers to dragons here. They have the Ryu, which is just basically a dragon. And then they have legends that talk of the Kappa, which were reptilian humanoids.
Yeah, that's really common there. And you can see that in a lot of their art, too. It's important to point out that none of this has anything to do with Godzilla.
Right.
I know you're thinking, but we're just putting it out there. Not Godzilla.
Not Godzilla. Godzilla is a totally different thing. These are lizard people.
Yep.
Not huge giant lizards.
No. No Gojira.
So then we skip over to India. In that region, we get the Hindu and Buddhist beliefs of the Naga, which we have mentioned before. The Naga were... They ran a few gamuts here of stuff for the region, depending on where you were, depending on what they were to you. They could be nature spirits, they could be deities. Mostly they dwelt underground. They were shapeshifters in their own right.
Yeah, that keeps coming back.
Weird, huh? They were generally wise. They taught humanity a lot. Healers, I've heard. A lot of them had the ability to heal. And in Hinduism, the Nagas live in the 7th nether dimension. So there's a dimension shift there for you. Also called Sarpa, And you might have heard of this, the Kundalini,
Yes.
the serpent that's starts at the base of your spine and twists up your spine, basically.
Yeah.
In what is that Indian mysticism, or
I think it's.
I forget what the Kundalini is.
I think it's mysticism, medicine, sort of between the two.
Like
Chakras. Yeah.
So yeah, the Kundalini is a serpent in there. So let's jump over to Greece.
We were really racking up the miles on this globetrotting mission to uncover the reptilians.
I hope I get a free flight to Agartha with all these miles.
I hope you get a free flight to a better joke.
Oh! Wonderful. Cecrops, the first king of Athens, half man, half snake. And then you get a ton of reptiles in Greek mythology.
Oh, man.
You got the Hydra, you got the Gorgons and Medusa.
Yep.
You got the dragon Ladon that guards the Golden Fleece.
Yep.
And on and on and on.
Yeah, no, I think that the Greek mythology is pretty rich and full of reptiles.
Yeah.
The Kraken.
The Kraken.
Thank God, I knew there was one more I was missing.
Let's jump down to Africa. In Benin, there was a serpent that ends up supporting everything, and by everything I mean the world, on its coils, and it was called Dawn.
Like Donald?
Actually, it's spelt Dan, but they say it's Dawn, so
okay.
I guess you can't make fun of it then.
Damn it.
And that's just one of many serpent gods that are throughout Africa in one way or another. There are some shaman that speak of a reptilian race called the Chitauri who control the earth, and they also say that they were created to mine gold for them. So there's that.
Boom! That is 2 hits with the gold stick. I wonder if there'll be a third.
We'll have to see. Travel up to the frozen north and the Nordic regions.
Uh-huh.
You get quite a bit of serpent talk in the mythology there, including
Glowworms.
the glowworms, Jormungandr, the world serpent that Odin ousted, who ended up growing huge enough to surround the earth and bite its own tail, forming an Ouroboros. And then you get the Nidhogg, which chews on the tree of the world called Yggdrasil. He is like a huge dragon with antlers.
Antler dragon.
So they got some real cool stuff there. So let's go on and get over here in the Americas.
Oh, thank God. USA. Not really. Not yet.
Not yet. Mayans spoke of iguana men who descended from the sky and taught them to build and how to build the buildings to reflect constellations. Mm-hmm. Gukumats, the serpent of wisdom, came down and enlightened mankind and devoured the young.
Hey, good news, bad news, everybody. You guys like math? Because I like kids.
So that was the Mayan, the Toltec Mayan, and in
Olmec?
the Olmec, Toltec, all that. In the Yucatan, he was called Kukulkan, and the Aztecs had Quetzalcoatl.
That's the one I was trying to say earlier, and I messed it up terribly.
Oh, Quetzalcoatl. You said the city. The city was
Tenochtitlan, yeah.
and Teotihuacan.
Oh, look at you!
He's the feathered serpent god.
Yeah.
Who is going to come back one day and save us all. Check out, Google yourself up some images and carvings of Mayan art, and in particular reptilians, because there's some pretty neat carvings of serpent-headed people, and even a Mayan king in a starship, or what looks to be the cockpit of a ship.
Ancient aliens.
Ancient aliens.
Chariots of the gods. Yeah, you cannot swing a sacrificial warrior back then without hitting a serpent image or iconography.
Nope. So let's skip down to Colombia. We get Bashu, which was their term for the primordial woman, who transformed into a giant snake and was called Serpiente Celestial.
Esta noche es Televisión Español. She's been on Sábado Gigante 3 times.
Sábado Gigantes.
How come Colombia got those jokes but Mexico didn't? No.
All the way up in Ohio, we have the Ohio Serpent Mound in Adams County. You seen this thing?
Yeah.
Built by the Allegheny people. Some people say it resembles the constellation Draco, and nobody knows basically what it's for, right?
Yeah,
I think it's burial mounds.
I mean, the good news is that we're not going to ever have to discuss the constellation Draco again in this podcast. That's not going to come up again.
That won't come out.
No, so we'll just leave that as it is.
Forget that. I'm the last one. And then our friends in the Southwest, the Hopi, believed in reptilian humanoids they called Shetty, or Snake Brothers, who lived underground.
And see, this is one of those things that I enjoy talking about because I want to sit on my lofty perch and laugh at it.
Yeah. But
damn it, there's this huge but. There is a but intruding on my good times. And that but is labeled a ridiculous amount of commonalities over some geographically and culturally very disparate areas.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And not even just culturally and geographically, temporally. These places weren't concurrent whatsoever.
No.
All living at very different times.
Yeah. That's why I love this stuff so much, is because you can't deny the commonality between all these things. You know, you can deny that Barack Obama is a reptilian. You can see his eyes, see a third. But you can't deny that there are there's so much art that has reptiles and serpents and dragons in it, you know?
And it's so focused on reptiles. There is, I mean, you do not see this kind of, and you will see occasionally, like in different things, like a bird deity or an animal deity, but everybody's got a serpent in the closet.
Yep. And many of them have descended from the sky.
Right.
You know? Absolutely.
And you get the coming from the heavens, coming from the sky. This weird that you see over and over. They're here to teach you, or they're here to destroy you, or both.
Yeah. Yep. If you're Gukumats.
Yeah. You've got a little bit of both. You've got calculators, and you want to floss your teeth with the sinews of children.
Child children.
Kids having kids. It's never okay.
It's the fluoride that's making them.
Oh, nice.
Blossom. So I'm ready, if you are, to dive into the old conspiracy pool.
Oh man, let's get so crazy with it. Okay, so modern reptilian theory. It's got a couple of starting points. Pick the one you like the most. There's a 1903 article in the San Francisco. I don't even think it was the Chronicle at the time, just the San Francisco newspaper, that referenced that mining crews had discovered tunnels with these reptile people, and there was a civilization living underground, and it was a hoax. It was a silly thing, and died out. It didn't really catch a lot of traction. But once you start doing research, you run across these things. And then you get to 1967, where a Nebraska police officer, this is in what UFO circles you call a credible witness. These are trained observers. Sure. He claims to have been abducted by humanoid reptiles who had, in a UFO. And that, to my mind, I think that's what really kicks this off. And at the time, the 60s, there's Attack from Outer Space, there's tons of movies and these things. And so it's not too terribly beyond the pale that somebody picked Lizardmen as a boogeyman. But I think that is the kernel. I think that is where the modern viewpoint and belief and conspiracy theory about reptilian overlords really takes root. I think that's where it started.
Huh. So we then get to a fellow by the name of John Rhodes, who was the first to investigate claims of this sort, of reptilian sightings and abductions. He thinks that they're descendants of the dinosaurs, and that the natural evolution has brought them to what they are now. And he thinks that we are being misinformed to look to outer space for these things, and instead we should be looking right under our feet.
Which there's that nagging quality to it that if dinosaurs hadn't been wiped out, they had a huge head start on mammals.
Yep.
There's every reason to believe that they would achieve some sort of sentience over time. Mm-hmm. I mean, or not. I mean, there are things, there's still trilobites running around in the bottom of the ocean, or what is it, not trilobites, horseshoe crabs. They didn't do shit. They've had hundreds of millions of years to accomplish it, and they haven't done anything. They're lazy. But there is that kind of belief that when you look at how much time dinosaurs had that weren't not for asteroids, why not? Why wouldn't they have achieved sentience?
If there were any that were living underground, they could have survived some sort of global catastrophe. Although, if they are cold-blooded, it would be kind of hard.
Right. I mean, yeah, the idea of a 100% subterranean cold-blooded creature doesn't really work.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they dug deep enough to get to some heat sources.
True.
Who knows? So that's John Rhodes. Let's go on and bring up our old pal David Icke now.
Oh man! And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where you light the fuse. This is where crazy shows up. David Icke is fascinating. He's still very much alive. This is a very modern thing. This is all in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. David Icke was a British sportscaster, very well known on TV a lot, until one day he decides that he's receiving messages, and they are apocalyptic. Mm. This is end of the world stuff. This is the equivalent of Bob Costas walking onto the Today Show and saying, "You got 6 months because the eastern seaboard is going to be engulfed in flames, a river of pus and bile spewing forth." I mean, it was a sensational thing in England.
Right. He was completely ridiculed. For it. Well, he also claimed to be the Son of God.
Right.
That the spirit of the Son of God had taken over and was conducting this interview, I feel kind of bad for him in that he almost had his life just completely trashed.
Right. And it's unfortunate in that he was going through something, something was happening to him. And for the rest of us, we just get weird and piss off our neighbors for a while. Maybe our friends get too creeped up and don't want to hang out, but you just get to eat frozen pizzas and watch movies and scribble in notebooks.
Right.
But David Icke is a celebrity. He has a platform, and so when he says something, it's news. And it's better news and more titillating if it's crazy talk, if it's blither blather. So he really paid the price for it almost instantly. But what's interesting, he very, very much stuck to his guns.
Yeah. Wrote some books.
Wrote several books, each one more amazing?
Yeah, sure.
Is that the polite way of saying it? Than the last? Each one successively a little bit further out there, building on what he established in the previous one and writing.
And he goes on tours to give lectures about all this stuff. And basically, he is a very big proponent of reptilians controlling the world. He says that they came from the constellation Draco, or Alpha Draconis, and the leaders of the world are actually 7 foot tall, blood-drinking pedophile reptilians.
Yeah, I didn't read the pedophile part. That's new.
Well, there's something about the energy and essence of young children that they...
Well, Skeksis will agree with you on that one.
Icke says that the bloodline of these reptilians has interbred, and the royal family in England,
the Rothschilds, the Gettys, the Colonel,
and U.S. presidents have had genealogical connections together.
Yeah, his theory is that the reptilians have always been here with us concurrently. Guiding us, farming us,
manipulating,
shaping what we want to do from behind the scenes, and occasionally, historically 3 times now, deigning to deliberately enter into breeding programs. According to Mr. Icke, there was a breeding program 30,000 years ago, and then one 7,000 years ago, and then one a few hundred years ago, the results of which are all of the ruling leaders of the world are partially reptilian, of a majority reptilian stock. They one of their goals is, again, this mining of gold, and what David Icke calls monoatomic gold that allows the it charges the reptilians, it gives them strength, it allows them to shapeshift.
Yeah.
There's just so many different aspects to the world he's described, and it's almost like any series of books. You build upon the world you've created, and it gets more and more complex.
Yeah, he is a big proponent also of the only seeing what we can see in the visible spectrum, which is technically a very small amount of what's out there. And he gives the example, well, you can't see radio waves, but there are, radio waves all around you right now. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they're there, which is a great point. He's equating this to the reptilians being of the fourth dimension, of a different frequency, of a different wavelength that we as humans can't see with our tiny visible spectrum.
And I guess I don't know if I'll say it's quote unquote worth pointing out that they're referencing a fourth spatial dimension. I know that it's commonly, people say, time is the fourth dimension through which we move. But he's referring to not only a fourth spatial dimension, but the lower portion of the fourth spatial dimension. Why that difference is important, why the distinction of the lower portion, I have no idea. Maybe that's the open door for his next book. I don't know. But that these beings, because they don't fully exist in our dimension, are invisible to us, but they are able to, because they're from a higher plane, interact with us willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly. From the Queen to the Bushes to Burma.
That's right. He was born in Kenya, and I mean Space Kenya, which is 38 million light years from here. I'd show you his birth certificate, but it's in 4 dimensions, and your brain would leak out your nostrils.
That's right. Take that, truthers.
Actually, could we show that one to Donald Trump, please? The lethal birth certificate?
You gotta wonder if he's one.
Oh, absolutely he is. He is just... And it just proves that even the reptiles are not above petty rivalry. But wouldn't a reptile have a better costume?
I mean, maybe it's like, dude, you can't get your hair right. Just wear this.
Can't you just put a motorcycle helmet on for the rest of your life?
They are, in essence, the Illuminati or the New World Order. Mm-hmm. Just in the fact that they're everywhere. They're in banking, they're in corporations, they're in the military. David Icke claimed that a confidant of Princess Di said that Princess Di told this confidant that the royal family were aliens. They were reptilian aliens. And I guess Princess Di was not, but she was brought in to breed with them, and then she died.
Matt Marp.
And maybe it's because she leaked that info. Who knows?
And it's interesting. There's another fun crossover here. So according to Mr. Icke, they're from another star system, another dimension even, but they have been in contact with the Earth so long, they've built this underground network of cities and bases. And you get an interesting crossover with the Hollow Earth once again, that there are these entrances to which you can access the reptilian network as it is. Yeah. I mean, and this has shown up... there's a lot of great examples in pop culture also. The TV series from the 80s and just recently, V. Oh, V, yeah. That they show up looking like humans, but really they're aliens that lead hamsters. Mm-hmm. There is a...
Not very well received.
No. People love those hamsters. There was... Doctor Who has several recurring characters that are subterranean reptilians that have been around since the dawn of time. Yeah. This is not something that is completely foreign to anyone who's watching. Let's just say nerds, because it's not like anybody else knows about Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who.
They address that quite well in specifically one episode where they actually go to a city that's a reptilian city underground. But then the reptilian characters and scientists keep popping up here and there, in different episodes and stuff. I've even heard that Doctor Who, some of the writers and stuff are getting away with leaking actual information that some of this stuff is true.
They're doing it.
They're doing it. They're getting in there. Patriots for the world.
That's right. But there is a cultural phenomenon that is not gaining traction, but it's just there. Yeah. Like any subset of culture is, that people are aware of. Oh, this is what when you think UFOs and aliens, you think grays. Mm-hmm. But then even I believe in his book Communion, Whitley Strieber even makes reference to when he was abducted. There were the grays, but there were other things. There was a reptilian alien among them. There are a lot of crazy ways in which these reptilians just pop into stories.
Yeah, some people say that reptilians control greys, like the greys do the bidding of the reptilians. There are some people that claim abduction by reptilians, and they witness these horrific sights of the reptilians just like shoveling bodies into furnaces and stuff, and doing experiments on humans. And there's I don't know, it's just one of those things where you bake a cake.
I can't wait to see where this is. It's one of those things.
You bake a cake and you're like, can't wait to give me some angel food. Cut into it.
Reptiles.
We've
all been there. You just want a good night's sleep, but you've been abducted.
And then you're not wearing pants.
Yeah, and you see horrifying visages of reptiles pitchforking people into ovens.
It's creepy. But this is where we're at with reptiles coexisting with humans.
Yeah,
humanoid reptiles.
I wouldn't call it coexisting. I mean, it's like saying the ox coexists with the plow.
That's a good point. We are being herded and manipulated by them.
Yeah, they run all of this. I mean, the only reason you're hearing this is because
some reptilian has fallen asleep on the job and
right,
has not
exactly.
shut us down.
Yeah, exactly. We'll probably be re-educated for this our next podcast. Hello, humans.
Hello, humans. We would like to talk at you.
We hope you enjoy our silly discussions of jokes that in no way reflect reality whatsoever. Ha 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 ha. Actually, I really want to do that podcast. Someday I want to do the We Got Caught podcast.
We got caught. So how about toast? It's great, right? Or not?
Have you noticed that the portion upon which you spread the cultured cream butter fat is more inclined statistically to touch the floor when released from your hand? This I find vexing.
Feces.
Tonight we are going to place our genitals into many buckets. That's great.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Man, we could sit here and hem and haw about.
I think that's what we're doing.
What reptilians are and what they do and stuff, but yeah, we're doing that already. And
yeah,
it's mostly because it's like, well, people are actually reptiles. How about that?
I'd like you to imagine, if you will, our podcast to be like two guys get into a really sweet dune buggy. And we're like driving through the backwoods, we're going through the mud puddles. We're showing you the parts of the forest you haven't seen before. But there comes that part where you get to the part of the forest that no one's seen before for a reason. And now this is the part of the podcast where the dune buggy's sliding sideways. And it's not even worth steering anymore.
No.
Pump the brakes. Who cares? No. It doesn't matter anymore. Because we're not anywhere. There never was a forest.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
So, the reptiles, are they aliens? Yes. Do they live underground? Yes. Have they been around forever? Of course they have. Are they responsible for New Coke? Yes.
Yeah. They could also live in the hollow moon.
Oh, man, I
There's that
forgot
one,
about
too.
the moon ray.
There's that.
Yeah, David Icke, in his fourth book, Reptiles, has posited that because they are space aliens, they have not only established a base on the moon, but they are the reason that the moon is in a specifically a tidally locked geosynchronous orbit, that we only see the one side of the moon. That's why
Right.
people always refer to the dark side of the moon. But that they are constantly bombarding us with like cosmic rays, and they're messing with our action.
Yeah.
They're the reason that apples turn brown. They're the reason why a banana is only good for 86 seconds.
And the reason why you only get one sock out of the dryer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and in David Icke's book, Reptilians, ain't that some shit? He references how we're all going to be soon put under an Orwellian state, that basically we have no existence anymore. We just do their bidding.
Which I don't get. Like, I mean, why wait till now?
I agree with that. I thought that myself. Like, if you've been around for so long and running the world, pulling the strings and stuff, why did you just start, like, putting your plan into work in, like, 1903 or whatever they took over the Federal Reserve or whatever?
Yeah, it doesn't, like, oh, no, don't get it when they're all in huts.
Yeah.
Or they're all running around worried about witches. No. Wait till we get a gold standard economic system with international trade policies. That's when we strike.
That's when we'll do it. That's when we'll make false flag attacks and then enact laws.
Yeah, so there's, I don't know. I love the cultural underpinning of it, and it's got just enough of a hook to make you can't just throw it right out the window. Mm-hmm. But man, like, especially the David Icke stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, the window is open and it's big.
Yeah.
And this stuff is just, it stinks so much.
Right. But
like,
and he's got, he's making plenty of money to stop at the Chesterton Hills Holiday Inn for a weekend for,
Yeah. I saw something where he makes like $2 million almost a year doing this stuff.
Way to go, Bob Costas.
I didn't mention this. I'm going to throw this out there. The medical sign of the two snakes wrapped around the cane?
Caduceus.
Caduceus, that's right. It's that right there. You got the serpents in there. It's got the tie-in to DNA. Mm-hmm. How the double helix looks. Also, again, the Kundalini could look something like this.
There's also a fun fact, and this is totally off our topic, but I can't leave out a little parasitology if it comes up, that it's the direct reference to a parasitic worm called dracunculus that can grow to be up to 2 to 3 meters long inside you. It is a worm.
Oh, gross!
That everts its ovaries from an opening in your leg into standing water, and so the way that you get rid of it is you pull a small amount of the worm out of your leg and you wrap it around a stick. And every day you turn the stick one more turn. And it takes weeks to get the whole thing pulled out. But if you pull too fast, the worm breaks. You become very ill because you have an entire worm decomposing in your leg. And so it's thought that this worm wrapped around the stick was also because that was one of the first medical procedures that takes a long time, that you have to know what you're doing. Dracunculus.
Now, not having anything to do with the blaxploitation field Drafunculus.
Oh, that counts. And that is how we launch into Pun Zone. That was awesome. Oh, man.
Which you don't want to know what stick it wraps around.
Oh, sure enough. Man, all right, you have to start Pun Town. Well, you just did, but
so Drafunculus is how is the opening salvo here?
It is. That is the canon that started this pun war has begun.
Drafunculus, he'll get in your leg.
Oh. Okay, I've got a pun. I got a great one. Underground rappers Reptilians.
Truly underground.
Truly underground Reptilians. Yo, they controlling them beats.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Why are we on this kick tonight? So I've got a sorority called Kappa Kappa Naga.
Oh, God! I should Kappa Kappa your noggin for that one. Which also counts as a pun. Oh, God!
Yep.
Underground Records is also proud to present Technoticlon. Mayan Beats. DJ Technoticlon. Oh, that was... I'm not often ashamed of the things I said. I should often be ashamed of them, but I rarely am. And I am this night for what I have done. There's no excuse for puns that's terrible. But man, the fact that I was able to put them both under the exact same record label
just goes to show.
Yeah.
We're all being enslaved right now. Everything's under one world government.
One World Records?
I'll put in a New World Order for the next record that comes out.
Oh, God.
Too bad. All right. We had a couple questions sent in from listeners.
Yeah.
Asking about reptilians. First one was from a listener, Annie, who says, "Are any reptilians single and ready to mingle?"
Yes.
Yes, they are.
They were about to launch yet another breeding program.
So just keep on the lookout. I'm sure that you'll be forced into one soon.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got... Oh, looks like listener asks, how dumb do you feel for believing that reptiles control everything? And how bad do you think your punishment will be in 36 hours?
Well, I believe that I'm not dumb.
No.
Although my punishment's probably going to be pretty harsh.
Yeah, I expect it to be swift and brutal.
Yeah. Justice will be served on a hot, steamy platter.
Yeah. Oh, and also, thank you for listening to both parts of the Hollow Earth. Your certificate is on the way.
And may we say to you this holiday season.
And your brood.
We also have one more from a listener, Teresa, who asks, are any miniature alligators kept as pets at nursing homes?
Yes.
If people are fortunate enough to escape the overlords that kill off people after they are 50.
Right.
Because then you get weak and feeble and you no longer serve a cause.
Exactly. So, food.
But if you manage to survive, get yourself an alligator and flush it down the sewer.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed that even though the gender of one of our listeners, one of our questions was not determined, that is 2 out of 3 ladies asking questions. So I feel pretty confident in saying we are the new Sex in the City.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'll let the listeners decide which one of us is Samantha.
Yeah.
And which one of us is
The other
Melody.
one?
What's the
Carol?
Melanie? Carol Ann? Shoeface?
Yeah, I'm
Shoe by Mick. How do you have money?
Yeah, I don't know how it works. But they like puns too. Maybe that's the secret.
Penis puns, right?
I
don't know anything about this show. I'm making it up. Let's make our own Sex in the City.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I'm Carol. That's the one I am.
I'm gonna be Shoeface.
Shoeface.
Mick, how do you have money?
Yeah. Well, and there go all of our female listeners.
Bye. Gosh, my jaw hurts from trying to gnaw on this episode.
Yeah, this was it's just crazy in a lot of directions, but it's worth talking about. It's one of the top conspiracy theories. It is a classic. And I honestly, weirdly enough, for as big a deal as it is, it doesn't get a lot of press. There's not a hell of a lot of TV shows that discuss the reptilian overlords.
I don't think they want to.
Right.
I mean, I saw some stuff with David Icke on the YouTubes where he was asked to do an interview and then walked in to do the interview, and they were like, "No, we found out who you were. Get out of here," kind of thing, which gets him mad.
The train I took to get to your house today derailed. I crawled out of that. A bus almost hit me, and then but I got here and we're doing it. So
yeah, so they don't know what they're doing. Apparently,
they're terrible at killing me. Now I'm going to die, and then everyone's going to think that reptiles are real, and that'll just piss me off. Then I'll become a haint.
Tired old haint. Acting like a ticket.
Acting like a ticket. Oh, well, this ticket's Dave Stecco.
This ticket's David Flora. And what you should do is check us out on iTunes.
iTunes, do it.
Check us out on Facebook. Like us, please. We would love to get more fans.
Yeah, we are just listeners. You don't even have to like us.
That's right. You just
click it.
Click it.
Don't mean it.
We're on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. We get sweet tweets.
Blurry_photos. I mean, with so many ways to reach us and show some support, you'd think we'd be, touring the Holiday Inns right behind David Icke.
Opening for him.
But
really warming up the crowd.
But we're not. So what you can do, dear listener, is tell everybody you know and get them to listen to us, too.
Oh, my God. Get us on the circuit, because I'll do like have a reptilian contact lens and pretend that I forgot to put my human contact lenses in.
That'll be great.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
All those shenanigans, and you can help support it. And here's the best part. This is the phrase of the free money, no money support. Just support us with the earnest emotion of support.
That's right.
You don't have to give us anything.
You do not, at this point, have to give us anything. Now, when we get all huge and have all that hubris and stuff, then we're going to be like, well, for $10.
That's right. And when that day comes, and know that it's coming, a complete set of I listened to all the hardest, most difficult to listen to episodes certificates will get you laid.
Woo! So, we've said who we are.
We're great. You're awesome.
This is Blurry Photos.
Here comes the spooky train.
Here comes y'all. I'm the conductor on the spooky train.
Whole lot of questions, but we ain't hauling no answers.